Love your brothers and sisters, and just keep joy in your heart.
You're absolutely right, George, because, again, it's one thing to point out the evil and then know that we have power over it. Some people see the show and think, well, this is just scary. No, we're admitting how serious it is, but knowing that truth and justice and light is a total antidote to this and has so much more power than evil. Evil only has power when we lay down to it, so we need to face the truth, make preparation for it, and realize we're in a very important time. George, great to see you.
I love you. You going to come out and hang out with me?
I'd love to.
Okay, you will.
I got to keep battling to a roller. Okay. Hold on one second. I'll say bye to you during the break. Folks, speaking of fear, I get criticized all the time. Hey, Planet X is going to kill us in 2000, kill us in 2003, Nibiru, Comet Elenin. There's always something new going to kill us. And this is how the global engineers sell fear to New Agers and also people that are secular and who aren't spiritual at all. That, you know, they say, hey, it's the end of the world. No, it's actually a new beginning. If you look at the Mayan calendar, any of it, it means a new time begins. It doesn't mean the end of the world. I've actually gone down there and talked to the Mayan archaeologists themselves. So even if you believe in that, it's a lie. They tell the Christians it's the end of the world. The rapture isn't even in the Bible, okay, until after Christ comes back. It's not there. They want to teach you the game's over, that you're not a player in it, because the end is coming. And if they can stall you with comets and runaway planets and all this garbage that they've pre-programmed in cartoons and movies for children, then you won't feel like you have power in this universe, and so you won't be active and be involved. So coming up after this break, we're going to look at this whole disaster, end-of-the-world economy. Who was that? I thought I recognized somebody there. We're going to be right back. Stay with us. Then we got a guest coming on who is concerned about Elenin. And who knows? It's just that I've heard of so many dozens of these, and then every time it doesn't kill us, and I'm proven right, they've just got a new one that's coming to kill us, and somehow I'm bad because I'm telling you we have hope, we can win, and there's a lot of forces out there that are a lot bigger than us. We'll be right back. Stay with us. It's Infowars Nightly News.
The establishment called him extreme and unelectable. They said he was the wrong man for the job. It's why a young Texan named Ron Paul was one of only 4 congressmen to endorse Ronald Reagan's campaign for president, believing in Reagan's message of smaller government and lower taxes. After Reagan, Senator Al Gore ran for president, pledging to raise taxes and increase spending, pushing his liberal values. And Al Gore found a cheerleader in Texas named Rick Perry. Rick Perry helped lead Al Gore's campaign to undo the Reagan Revolution, fighting to elect Al Gore president of the United States. Now, America must decide who to trust, Al Gore's Texas cheerleader or the one who stood with Reagan. Ron Paul, restore America now.
You have found it, the front lines in the information war. I'm Alex Jones, your host. We're here weeknights, 7 p.m. Central at prisonplanet.tv and InfoWarsNews.com. This transmission is listener and viewer supported, so if you believe in this type of information, consider not just continuing your membership at prisonplanet.tv, but also purchasing your friends and family memberships as we develop and build this news program that's going to have other programs built around it in the near future for deployment into the television brainwashing box system to reach the general public in their houses that are under globalist matrix control. Now, coming up, we're going to launch the first in a series of reports we're going to be doing as we go towards December 2012. Now just, 13, 14 months away, we're going to be looking at the end is nigh. This obsession in the culture with how the end is always right around the corner. So let the world go to hell in a handbasket. This type of self-fulfilling prophecy is one of the big psychological problems that could actually get this world maneuvered into a position where we basically destroy ourselves. So we'll be covering that coming up here in just a few minutes. But first, I wanted to get to a couple of other just bizarre news stories that are out there. One of them is spare body parts could be grown after scientists implant lab-produced organs in humans. And the Daily Mail newspaper reported on this. The problem is that most of these organs are grown from human stem cells, and they're artificially also harvesting them out of human embryos. So we're basically simply dehumanizing ourselves, and we are certainly more and more living in a brave new world. The Infowars.com posting of the story read, spare human parts grown in laboratories could be just years away after scientists discovered more than 20 ways of growing organs. They have already grown the bladder, urethra, and windpipe, which have been implanted into patients during clinical trials. That's certainly good news, though, if you're dying of cancer in those areas of your body. And again, that report originally came from the dailymail.com. Continuing with one other interesting piece of news. I noticed this in the Austin American-Statesman today, and Kurt Nimmo at Infowars.com wrote a more detailed report. Border control, no, not from the U.S. side, from the Mexico side. Drug cartel demands $30,000 to let a Mexican football team come into the United States. A Mexican high school football team that was playing a Texas football team just north of Austin. So for a high school Mexican football team to come play a football game, they've got to pay the drug cartel $30,000. The criminals are now untouchable in Mexico and have bought off the police. And once you reach that level, it is just another signpost indicating the collapse of our society. So we have a lot of real problems that are actually destroying human interaction and civilization. But you can't get the general public upset about it because it's the end of the world. And that's the next subject I want to get into. Growing up, you'd see it in the children's cartoons that the world was almost destroyed, or there's an apocalyptic Planet of the Apes, or Thundar the Barbarian in the future because of a runaway comet like Elenin coming through between the Earth and Moon and causing incredible destruction. So we put together a few video clips here that go through the facts that, yes, there has been mass extinction of the dinosaurs, clearly linked to a giant asteroid hitting the planet. And yes, the Mayan calendar says that in December of 2012 that there's an end of this age, not end of the world, but that a new hearth is lit. The sun is the fireplace, and that a new age begins. And of course, Christians, certain interpretations of the Bible, say that there's a rapture before the end of the world, or Christ's return, or that there's a rapture after. And this is constantly used as an excuse to not get politically involved. And then, of course, you have Heaven's Gate, where they all committed suicide, believing that they'd put on their Nike tennis shoes and drink vodka and take barbiturates and put bags over their heads and fly up to the Hale-Bopp comet. Of course, earlier this year, you had the Christian group with Henry Camping saying it would all end on May 21st. And then when that didn't happen, he said, okay, it's going to end in October now. It's all part of this idea, this obsession that the establishment is more than happy to push on the public, that you don't have to be involved in any type of political action because the world's all going to end anyway.
The year 1994. From out of space comes a runaway planet, hurtling between the Earth and the Moon, unleashing cosmic destruction. Man's civilization is cast in ruin.
It's a way to get you to believe you're powerless and just turn control of your life over to the system. This is a self-implanted brainwashing technique being used to basically write history before it happens so that you believe that you have no power. With more on the end of the world or mega disaster fascination is a gentleman who's actually a serious individual and who's been studying it from the facts. Brooks A. Agnew is a PhD in commercial scientist and engineer with more than 17 years in several fields studying Earth changes. So I thought I would get his take on what's happening. Sir, look, I understand that big meteorites hit the Earth. The dinosaurs are extinct. We see big comets hit Jupiter. Shoemaker-Levy. I mean, I know that comets could hit us, things could happen. My only issue is I'm always being criticized in 2000, 2003 because I didn't believe Planet X was going to kill us or that the government could hide it from us. I didn't believe back in July that Nibiru was going to kill us. Now Ellen's coming, and people are like, stop covering it up. You're going to be in a bunker in September or October. We're all dead. The tail's going to hit us, and it's a little bitty comet. So, but again, I'm not saying there aren't big Earth changes and poles changing, and I know this stuff happens. I know earthquakes, super volcanoes. I know that this is a volatile planet, but at the same time, this is in the scale of millions of years, is it not? Break it down for us from your years of research.
Well, it's all about probabilities. Earth is a really small and gravitationally insignificant planet in a very large solar system. We have the sun and we have Jupiter, which are like gravitational vacuum cleaners for us. So the odds of Earth actually getting hit by something is very, very slim. Even in open space, things will revolve around each other or they'll coalesce with each other, but a direct hit is very, very rare. Ellen is just one in a long series of, I guess, hyped would-be collisions with Earth. You're right, Ellen was a small comet, didn't have much of a tail to it. It did come from a different location than we're normally used to seeing comets, the Oort cloud. But just as it got within range of the sun, sure enough, it began heating up, it began off-gassing, and as predicted, the loosely coalesced head of the comet came apart, and it's going to be no threat at all. It won't get any closer than 22 million miles to Earth, but there is a near-Earth object that's going to come close to Earth in November of this year, and that's MU-55, which is an asteroid. Now that's quite a bit different story, and that's going to be closer than 1 lunar distance to us. So that's probably more alarming than a comet would be.
So, and by the way, NASA doesn't deny that. So closer to us and the moon, that is like right across the street, basically, in the overall type of scales we're talking about in space. Statistically, I mean, I know they've argued that we get hit every 10,000 years by a big asteroid or every 100,000, every million. From your research, how often statistically does this happen, and are we statistically due for some type of big Earth strike?
Well, statistics can be easily manipulated. There are a lot of near-Earth objects to varying degrees, but are they in a trajectory to cause Earth a problem? We have Trojan asteroids in our own Earth orbit that are ahead of us and behind of us, but they're at what we call